السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على السلام حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد إن أصدق حديث كتاب الله عز وجل وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر أمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة في الإسلام بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise is due to Allah Azza wa Jal. We praise Him and we extol Him and we seek refuge in Allah from evil within ourselves and evil results of our wrong actions. Whomsoever Allah guides can be never left astray, and whomsoever Allah allows to be left astray in misguidance, and there's no guide for that individual. Very the most truthful of speech is the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the finest guidance is that of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the most evil of affairs are the newly invented ones, bid'ah. Every bid'ah is going astray, and every going astray leads to the hellfire. That's al-afiyah. As what follows, my dear brothers and sisters in Iman, as we all know, there are many huquq, rights in Islam. There are many rights in Islam. some are privileges, but there are many things in Islam that are rights upon us. And there's a hadith in the thread of Aisha anha, where she said that she heard the Prophet ﷺ, he said, give everyone or everything its due right. So today, inshallah, we'd like to speak about the Huquq al-Basar, the rights of our eyesight, our looking. Because many of us, as Muslims, in general, we take this as a light thing upon us. We do not look at the right of our eyes as something that is big. But we have to know that everything in Islam has a right. Some are privileges, but there are a lot of rights that have gone overlooked for many years. For Muslims in general, we take this as a light thing. But as believers, we must understand that the right of our eyesight is something which is directly connected to our heart and the life of our heart. So we have to take it upon ourselves to be very diligent and not allow our eyes to deviate our hearts. As believers, Allah Azza wa Jal, He had told us to make this dua. رَبَّنَا لَا تَزِغْ قَلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. That, oh Allah, we ask you that you do not cause our hearts to deviate after you have guided us, and have mercy on us. Verily, you are the one and the best to bestow mercy upon us. So, Ghad al-Basar, in Arabic, it means that we have to lower our gazes and make every effort so as to not see forbidden things. And this is something which is very, very important in Islam. And the Salaf, they've mentioned this, that if you see a man who was prone to visiting the places or hanging out in the market or sitting at where women gather, then you should be wary of this individual. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He has mentioned in Surah Nur, that in Surah Nur, ayat number 30, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّونَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَيَحْفَظُونَ فُرُوجَهُم. That we should say, Allah Azza wa Jal said, say to the believers that they should protect their eyesights. They should lower their gaze so as to protect their private parts. يَحْفَظُونَ فُرُوجَهُم. We should lower our gazes so as to protect our private parts. Allah Azza wa Jalla has also mentioned in the Quran, La taqraba zina, that we should not come close. We should be far away from immorality, lewdness, any of those things. Zina is a very loosely translated term to say sexual promiscuity. But there are many, many levels and aspects of zina that we will learn about, inshallah, in this khutbah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said to Ali ibn Abi Talib, the first look is for you, but the second look is for the shaitan. We should not allow ourselves to look a second time. So the ulama, Rabbaniyin, they have stated that the unintentional look is something which was not by choice. So we will not be held accountable for that thing. But if we make the effort to look again, that was by choice, and that is something which is haram, forbidden. Because deliberately and continuously looking at the opposite sex is awra. Looking at the opposite sex is something which is forbidden, muharram. Accidentally, we will not be asked about. But after that, if we continuously look and glare and stare and penetrate the looks and to allow our imagination to run wild, this is all from the khudwat al-shaitan. Because as believers, we have to understand that that woman, that female that we're gazing at, we're glaring, we're staring at, is somebody's mother. It's somebody's aunt. It's somebody's sister. It may be your brother's wife that you're looking at. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That might happen to go out to the market to buy something, to eat for the family. And you're staring and glaring and telling your friends to look at this thing. So we have to lower our gazes. This isn't something which is just a loosely term that's saying that we should lower our gazes and we should not look at things which are forbidden. No, because it's a hadith, and it's Abu Hurairah anhu, who said that the Prophet ﷺ said that the children of Adam, they all have their nasib, their portion written out for them of zina. Zina. And he said, ﷺ, that the zina of the eye is the look, and the zina of the tongue is speaking, and the zina of the ear is listening, and the zina of the eyes and the zina of the hands is shaking the hands, and the zina of the mouth and the tongue is speaking. The private parts confirm or they reject this thing. So as young men, we should not fool ourselves into saying that we're strong or we're mature and we know ourselves or we're too mature adults. This is all a trick and part of the khudwa, the footsteps of the shaitan. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that if two people who are not allowed to be, who can be married, if two people, mature adults, are together alone, then the shaitan is thalathahuma. The shaitan is the third amongst them. So, this is also a warning, a severe and stern warning for our married sisters, that we should not allow them, or they should not allow themselves to just sit loosely in the presence of men. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى نِسَاء. He said, be wary of entering upon where women are. And it was asked of the Prophet ﷺ, أَرَأَيْتَ الْحَمَوْ. Have you not seen, or what do you think about the male in-laws? The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Hamul Maut. That the male in-laws are death. And ulama have explained this very, very deeply. So we do not have time to go into the explanation of this saying of the Prophet ﷺ, Al-Hamul Maut, is that the cause, the harms and the destruction that it will cause to the family to find out that a man's wife or his brother's wife was spending time and they're too closely related and they're always moving about together. So we have to understand that we should try and lock and block all of the avenues of shaitan coming and tricking us, as what occurred in the Jannah with our father Adam alayhi salam, where shaitan, la'natullah, tricked our father Adam out of Jannah. How? Through his wife, through his desires, which led to his wife, which led to him being kicked out of Jannah. So we have to know that in this society, the shaitan has tricked many people, has tricked many men and many women, a lot of men into believing and feeling that they are a stud or an alpha male mentality, where they are never satisfied. And men who are married are included in this scenario, that they're always on the prowl and looking about, so as they want to believe within themselves that they're keeping their options open. So as men, we have to restrain our glances from just allowing it to look loosely at many things. Because as a result, as we all know, the illegitimate children are on the rise all over the world, especially in the land of milk and honey, America. Majority of the African Americans over there, they have no idea who their father is. And this phenomena is starting to spread and come over to here, this part of the world. Illegitimate children are on the rise. Promiscuity is on the rise. Sexually transmitted diseases, incurable diseases like AIDS are on the rise. Why? Because we're allowing our desires to run wild. And all of this can be stopped if we just lower our gazes. This is what Islam is all about, man. Islam Iman. That we try and nip these evils in the bud. Islam came about to remove a lot of these social diseases and evil from the society. But many Muslims are now engaged and involved in all of these type of things. Now with the advent of the internet, we have so many social networks where people are engaging in loose conversations and talks and listening to so many things very loosely. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So, as responsible adults, then we have to take it upon ourselves to be a source of guidance for each other, and especially for our youth. We have to try and advise them And the best way to advise them is through our example. We have to try and be good examples for them, because they are the ones who are mostly exposed to this social media and this advertisement. We have to let them know that the whole purpose behind lowering our gazes is for us to protect our hearts from becoming corrupt and perverted. Our youth always need to be reminded of these things. That it's very important to lower your gaze and not allow yourselves to be trapped or lured into the traps of the shaitan. And one excellent example of a very pious youth is Yusuf alayhi salam. We can remind our youth about how Yusuf alayhi salam responded when the woman tried to ensnare him in his trap. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned that, and he said this ahsan al-qasas, that the story of Yusuf alayhi salam is the best of stories. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ حَمَّ بِهِ وَحَمَّدْ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَنْ أَرَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّي كَذَلِكَ لِنَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ وَالْفَحْشَاءَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَلَقَدْ حَمَّدْ بِهِ. She desired Yusuf alayhi salam. She had a desire for Yusuf alayhi salam. And he might have inclined towards her inclinations and her suggestions if he did not see the signs of his Lord Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal says, إِنْهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. Because he was one of Allah's sincere worshippers. This is the starting point behind protecting ourselves from the footsteps of the shaitan. That we have to be sincere in our ibadah. We have to be sincere in our declaration of faith. We have to be sincere in trying to protect ourselves from all of those avenues of the shaitan. Because Yusuf alayhi salam was a very handsome young man. He wasn't an ordinary youth. And there are many young lads today who are very handsome, very fit, and very intelligent, or very well spoken. So Yusuf alayhi salam, he wasn't to blame, because the woman, they desired him and they tried to attack him and seduce him. And when they heard about him, they wanted him. And when the woman, they seen Yusuf alayhi salam, they cut their hands and they were amazed at the sight of Yusuf alayhi salam. They said, Hasha lillah. Allah is far removed from any imperfection. He said that this is amazing. He said that this individual is not a human being, that he is a noble angel. So it was no fault on Yusuf alayhi salam, but Allah he blessed him with all forms of beauty and elegance and grace. So if we see in ourselves something of beauty and elegance and charisma, then we have to try and stay away from these things. If the women see within themselves, then they have to wear loose-fitting clothing so as not to be a source of fitna for others. Because Yusuf alayhi salam was sincere. Allah Azza wa Jal, he saved him. We have to remind our youth that the starting point behind all of these things for us to protect ourselves is through our ikhlas, our sincerity. If we want Allah to protect us, then we can't play around with this ghad al-basar. We can't fool around with lowering our gaze. We have to be sincere and try our best to lower our gazes. We need to remind each other, especially the youth, because the world is a very dangerous place. And Allah Azza wa Jal had set many, many things in motion. But if we allow ourselves to run wild, or we allow our youth to allow themselves, to allow their desires to run wild, then they are surely going to be led astray. So we have to be sincere and we have to be diligent to remind them of the khudwat al-shaitan. And there's a hadith, which is collected in Sahih Imam Bukhari, and the of Anas, who said that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that the hour will not be established, or said that from amongst the signs of the last day is that the religious knowledge will be taken away. How? By the death of the scholars. And ignorance will prevail. And drinking of alcohol and zina will be common. And there will be a decrease in men and an increase in women. Allahu Akbar. So much so that one man will have to be responsible for 50 women. Subhanallah. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. We need to remind them that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that there is sinfan, he said, sinfan min ahl al-nar ma arahuma qat. There are two types of people from the hellfire that I've never seen yet. He said ﷺ that there will be men who will walk around with whips, whipping people. And there will be women who will be clothed yet naked. And they'll have a hump on their head and they'll walk in a swaying motion so as to entice men to look at them. Allahu Akbar. Kasirat ariyat, he said, that they are clothed yet naked. Subhanallah. We are living in these times now where we see women who are wearing tight-fitting clothing. Even believing women, even Muslim women are now wearing tight-fitting clothing. Allahu Akbar. These things we see, women are wearing tight-fitting clothing and they are claiming that they are dressed, but now wearing skinny jeans, tight-fitting shirts, tight-fitting blouses. Everything is tightly fit on them. So this hadith is one of the miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. So we have to be on the lookout. We have to be aware. And none of us can deny this fact that we are living in these times of great fitna, that it is very dangerous for our hearts when we see these things. And we have to understand that Islam is a very practical way of life. Islam is a practical way of life. Islam does not block everything so much so that there is no desire. Because men and women have to get married. We do not believe and we do not condone same-sex marriages. This is not a part of our belief. And we're not the only ones who believe that way. So it is permissible for our youth to want to get married. But we have to make halal arrangements with them. We have to arrange halal meetings with them through a chaperone where they can meet and see each other and chat in a manner which is conducive towards our deen. A lot of young sisters are being seduced through the social media. A lot of them are being seduced. A lot of young men are setting up Facebook accounts and doctoring up the images so as to trap and ensnare young girls so as to seduce them. This is what's going on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. There are too many statistics how our young sisters are becoming entrapped and snared by the young studs. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And they're setting these up so that they can flirt with young girls and that they can do whatever they want with them. May Allah Azza wa Jal help us and protect our children and keep them all safe. Allahumma ameen. Bismillah, salatu salam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi tabi'huda wa ba'd. So let us end off with some wise sayings coming from the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, Fatima, radhiyallahu anha. Once the Prophet ﷺ asked his daughter Fatima, what is the best thing for a woman? The Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet of Allah, alladhi la yantiq anil hawa, the one who does not speak of his own desires, is asking his beloved daughter, what is the best thing for a woman? Fatima, radhiyallahu anha, she said that the best thing for a woman is that she is protected from the sight of men, and that men are protected from the sight of her. That she does not see men, and men does not see her. Allahu Akbar. Also, once the Prophet ﷺ asked his beloved daughter Fatima, radhiyallahu anha, when are women closest to Allah? This is the Prophet ﷺ asking his daughter, when are women closest to Allah? Fatima, radhiyallahu anha, she said, when they are in their homes. Allahu Akbar. This is also in conformity with the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, al-marat al-awra, that a woman is something of concealment. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned that in the Quran. وَقُرْنَ فِي بِيُوتِكُنَّ, that they, O women, that you should stay, O women, O wives and daughters of the Prophet ﷺ, stay in your homes. وَلَا تَتَبَرَّجْ, do not make this display of yourself and showing yourselves like the baraj al-jahiliyyat al-ula. Also, Fatima, bint Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day when she was in the house of her father, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a knock at the door. And the servant went and answered the door. And the servant said, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is Ibn Maktoum. He has come to visit you. the Prophet ﷺ said, let him in, let him come in. Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, she quickly collected herself and got up, was going back. The Prophet ﷺ, he stopped her. He said, where are you going? He said, your companion is coming to visit you. He's coming in now to visit you. So I'm going to the back to observe my hijab. The Prophet ﷺ said that this companion of mine, Ibn Maktoum, he is blind of sight. He cannot see you. Fatima said that, but I can see him. I can see him. So I must go to the back and observe my hijab. He asked his beloved daughter, and he said that this man is blind of sight. He cannot see you. But she said, I can see him. Allahu Akbar. So we must learn, my dear brothers Islam and Iman, that as mu'mineen, as believers, it is a responsibility upon us to let our children grow up with modesty, haya, shyness, and that they should not have a gamma type of modesty, a fake or sham type of modesty, that they're only wrapping up themselves when they're coming to the masjid. They should wear proper clothing that does not reveal their shapes. They should speak in a manner which is appropriate, does not draw attention to themselves. The young lads, young men, if they feel they are handsome or they're well built, they should not be in a place where they're going to be admired by women. So my dear brothers and Iman, if the young lads are going around trying to seduce women, and those women are sincere and they want to be married, and these young men are trying to seduce them or play with their emotions, and they have to understand that what goes around will one day come back around. When they're serious and they're sincere about being married, then maybe that sister will play the same game with him. So we have to remind our youth to be sincere in their quest to observe their modesty, and that may Allah Azza wa Jal bless them and keep them chaste. And that it is very important that the starting point is that we lower our gaze, and that we remind them to lower their gazes. Remind our sisters to not be soft in their speech with the opposite sex, with men. Try their best to avoid being alone with them. Always have a sister with them. Always walk with a brother. We should always adopt this buddy system. Tell the young girls to always have a friend with them, whether on campus, when they're traveling. So may Allah Azza wa Jal bless our youth and help them to protect their chastity and their modesty. May Allah Azza wa Jal help those young sisters who are looking to get married. May Allah Azza wa Jal help them to find the right spouse. Allahumma ameen. May Allah Azza wa Jal help the youth who are trying to get married, the young men who are trying to get married, who are trying their best to stay away from looking at fahsha, evil things. May Allah Azza wa Jal help the young lads to find appropriate spouses for them, so they can live in accordance with the Quran and authentic Sunnah. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Inna wa malaikatu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya alladhina amanu, sallu alayhi wa sallimu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim. Innaka hamidun majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأقم الصلاة